I meant to get my review for this game out earlier, but I suppose it's appropriate. I'm now getting it out during Pride Month. Super Lesbian Animal RPG. Or Slarg, I guess. Slarg. Oh, whatever. It's great. It's really great. I played this on stream, on my Twitch stream. This game made me so happy on so many levels. And I feel like in many ways I'm almost the ideal target audience for this thing. So, first of all, this is available, I believe, currently only on PC. I got it on Steam. And the aesthetic is very 16-bit era RPG. Actually, I think I would specifically cite Secret of Mana. Secret of Mana as sort of the one that it felt most reminiscent of in terms of the size and overall look of the sprites and sort of the color palette, and also just the sort of feel of the movement and moving about. It reminded me a fair bit of Secret of Mana, and that's good for me because I like Secret of Mana a lot. The world is interesting. It is basically a world of furries. It's just completely populated by anthropomorphic animals, and it is one of the most wholesome things I have ever played. This is a turn-based RPG, and so when you get into combat, you select your moves. You have it. It's actually sort of, how would I want to say, Dragon Quest. I want to say Dragon Warrior. That's what they renamed the first one for the US on the NES, which I did play, and I had because I'm old. But anyways, that sort of like looking head on, and it's like you're seeing from the perspective of your characters, and you're dealing with the combat. It's all turn based, but there's some neat little tweaks as far as like your more special abilities and magic type stuff is. There is magic points. There's MP and HP like it's standard, but there's also sort of star power, and how that goes up varies from character to character depending on what they are in the first place. So like you have your fighter character who their star power goes up when they successfully attack an enemy. Cool. However, you've also got the party healer. Her star power goes up when she heals somebody. And then you have your magic caster. A star power goes up when they successfully deal damage. But then there's also the tank, whose star power goes up when she takes damage. And the star power for most of them resets at the start of each battle, although there are certain charms you can equip to have it roll over. The characters in this are so wonderfully adorable and caring. And not only is this incredibly gay, as is evidenced by the title, it's also pretty trans. Of the 4 characters that you get into your party, half of them are trans. I mean, they're all lesbians, they're all women, and it's never an issue. The characters being lesbian is pretty central insofar as the nature of their relationships with each other matter quite a bit, and there are romantic relationships kind of at the heart of a lot of what's going on. But at the same time, it's not a particularly sexual game. I mean, it's just not. You could make these heterosexual romances, and I think most people who game, they might find it a little twee, a little overly pastel in its color, but, I don't think they'd object to it, even if they don't normally like gayness, because again, it's just that they're just building relationships and they're just all gay. But when I say this is incredibly wholesome, here's my go-to example for that. If you've ever played these kind of RPGs, then it's very standard where you basically, especially like in the starting town, you just wander into everybody's house and like look for chests to have items. You're stocking up, whatever. You try and go into a house near the start of the game, and your characters go, "No, there's nobody home. We're not just going to barge in. What are you doing?" Like they say flat out, no, I'm not going to do that because that's rude. That's the kind of wholesome that this game is. It's a little bit meta in its wholesomeness. It brings into question the standard tropes of the genre. The story is actually not too bad either. It's an interesting setting because while it runs a lot on magic and it has a lot of magical elements, even aside from the fact that we're dealing with anthropomorphic animals, anthropomorphic animals. I can talk. But also there's, technology. People have cell phones. There's the internet. And it's an interesting blend, but it's also very distinctly not Earth. There's some interesting stuff that go on with the villains as well. I don't want to spoil where that's going, but there were some twists that I called early on with the villains, but it also went some interesting places beside that I didn't necessarily call. And there's also like a really emotionally intelligent bit around the middle in regards to the main character, the little fox, little paladin fox. And she has a dark inner voice, I think, like a lot of us do. And part of what I love is that's not a villain manipulating her, nor does that dark inner voice like take full physical form and like become an enemy that you fight. It's just something that she has to deal with. And appropriately enough, that character is named Melody and the dark inner voice is named Harmony. And there's a lot of, like I said, emotional intelligence behind that. And this wholesome is a word I just keep coming back to. Whenever I think about this game, it is so heartwarmingly wholesome. It's adorable. It just gives me the best kind of warm feeling while I was playing it to talk about it. And all the mechanics are super solid. Like, it's a turn-based 16-bit graphical style retro RPG. It's not going to blow you away with its mechanics, but there's some decent nuance. It's good party balance between the various characters and, trying to, keep everybody going, but also making progress and dealing the damage. It's a well-balanced party. There is a little actual strategy you have to figure out. You can feel properly challenged at times while also not being the toughest game in the world, but it moves forward at a nice pace. These are wonderful characters. This is a charming world, and it's just the sweetest damn thing. I think there's a very good chance very few people have heard of this game. I cannot recommend it enough if retro RPGs are your jam, especially if you are queer. Like, this is just wonderful. This is comfort gaming, is what this is. Super Lesbian Animal RPG. Have you heard of it? Have you played it? Did you watch me play it on Twitch? Whatever your thoughts might be, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Did this description remind you of anything else? Because I would happily find something else along these lines. There is, I would say, the potential for a sequel. There's like, it's a complete story, don't get me wrong, but there's like some little threads they could definitely tug on to get a sequel out of. I'd be here for it. We'll see. But if you want to support what I do, Patreon is what enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't support me that way, like, share, and subscribe. All help me out, but don't worry too much about it. We take a relaxed attitude around here, so you can just come on back next time you need a break. Massive thanks to my Patreon supporters, and in particular, I want to thank Robin Moore, Zubin Lutfullah, Tarak, the thing that goes doink in the anime, Ruth, Oliver B., Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Jen, Leotha Boyd, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernabilax the Poodle, Robin Powell, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Kasparov, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, David Hall, Shayla Gourlay, and Rosalind Bennett. Thanks for your support. You can get your name in the credits too if you feel like hearing me possibly struggle with it for several times before getting it right.